Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 10 of the $20orLESS podcast. We're recording live on April 12th, 2015, and I'm your host, JD, aka Gaddock Teeg, and with me today, as always, my co-host, Cosmic Engine. How are you doing today, Cosmic?
Good, you?
I'm not doing so great. These allergies, the season changes, my head feels like a bowling ball. It's not been the greatest couple of days for me. So, what have you been playing? What video games have you been playing the past couple days?
I've been playing too many early access games. Like, I keep getting sent early access games, so I play them because there's not really that many like decent releases, like full releases at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks.
Mortal Kombat X is coming out next week, which I'm looking forward to.
That should be interesting.
But yeah, I've been playing early access games. I played a bit of Victor
Anything of
Vran.
note?
Any
good ones?
Some.
They're all early access games.
I played a turn-based, tactical turn-based combat game called Fallen A2P, which is made by an Argentinian developer, and it was actually it's like set in like a post-apocalyptic world where you basically end up getting a caravan, and you have to go around with this caravan of people and whatever, kind of going through. It's kind of like Mad Max in that sense, that you're kind of traveling around the desert, and they've got like these political powers in play, and then you're trying to figure out all this kind of stuff. And in the middle of it is turn-based combat. It's really rough around the edges, that game. That's so it looks awful. The character models look awful, and the actual story and the dialogue is just like riddled with spelling mistakes and grammar errors and everything.
Would you expect any less from a foreign developed early access game?
But I mean, the core, it's one of those games where I sit there and think I like the idea of it and I like the premise, but what I've seen so far, I'm not sure they're going to execute this quite
so is
the
it like
standard that I would want.
Like an XCOM turn-based?
It's kind of like an XCOM.
Is it like a Fire Emblem? Yeah,
it's kind of like an XCOM, but like instead of one thing I do like about it is that in the middle of battle, you have to like loot and salvage, because basically it's post-apocalyptic. So it's like where like XCOM, you can just shoot your gun and shoot your gun and shoot your gun, reload, shoot your gun, and you've got infinite ammo. You don't have infinite ammo in Fallen, so it's all about like if you run out of bullets, then you can go over to a dead enemy's corpse and loot the corpse for see what they've got, whether it's like a melee weapon or ammo or something like that. Which I like that. Like
that sounds neat. That's something I don't think any of those types of games have really done. It seems like you always have infinite ammo in those kind of games.
It's I like that. It reminds me. It's kind of like a bit like Wasteland 2 a little bit. But I'm concerned that from what I've seen so far, I'm not sure if they will execute it on full release.
Have the developers said how far along they think they are? How much longer?
No, as I said, I've only played the game. I haven't researched it fully. I'll probably end up doing a video on it, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, mostly I've just been playing early access games. I played a little bit of Dota 2 earlier in the week.
Oh. Are you a big Dota player? What?
I play on a fairly regularly basis, just to. It's more of like a stress release game. MOBAs are highly addictive for me.
Oh yeah, totally.
I usually play like Dota 2 just to like if I'm having a bad day or like I'm stressed out, I'll just play. And then the next thing I know, it's like 2 hours have gone by, 3 hours have gone by, 4 hours have gone by, and then I feel better. So
yeah,
that's where I go.
Or you feel much worse. I find the rage that you can get from a MOBA is unparalleled with any other game. I think that's why I think it's. Sometimes it's great for stress relief, but sometimes it just gets you in a worse mood.
No, it never bothers me like that. Like I don't.
Oh no, you don't. No. No rage quit.
No, I've never been like that. I've never been one of those people who get like, I get into games, I get into multiplayer games, but I've never been at the point where like just because I'm losing, I get all frustrated and that. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't bother me.
Yeah, so I've been playing a whole bunch of mobile games actually this past week because of the Easter holiday. I did a lot of traveling. I was on a train for a while. So I had my trusty 3DS, which is still a wonderful console. I think that the 3DS is winning the console wars if we're really going to get down to it. 3DS is an awesome console, has a bunch of wonderful games. You should definitely own one at this point. If you can get your hands on a new 3DS, I've only heard good things about that too. So I've been playing a little game called Box Boy, which kind of has become a cult hit between a lot of the gaming zeitgeist that I've seen. It's a neat little puzzle platformer. You play as a little box guy, and his ability is he can create boxes or generate boxes around him, so you can kind of make like Tetris pieces off of him.
Right.
And in different levels, you have different numbers of boxes that you can create, and there's a couple of different things. Like if a box sticks to a wall, you can use it to like teleport yourself up that wall. Each level, there's been... I thought there were only going to be 12 levels, but then they pulled you've gotten to this edge of the box, but it turns and there's a whole new set of levels. It seems like there's going to be a ton of levels in this game. I haven't beaten it yet. And each level does change the formula up a little bit. So some will have switches that you have to hit. Some will have like sticky pads that you get stuck to if you land on. Some will have lasers, and they do a good job of mixing things up in each level, so it seems fresh, even though it's a very simple premise. It's a great game, I think. It's just really been enjoyable.
It's a puzzle platformer.
It is a puzzle platformer in the most puzzly of platforming as it can get.
Puzzle platformers just bore me.
See, I thought this was gonna be a boring puzzle platformer. I saw a lot of people hyping it up, and I'm like, how could it possibly match this hype? I started playing it. I'm like, this is not that great.
You wouldn't believe the amount of puzzle platformers I get sent from, like, especially indie devs, because 2D puzzle platformers with pixel art is just the indie dev thing to do. Like, you want to start building your first game, do a 2D puzzle platform, and I get sent so many, and I have to force myself to play some, and I just
See, I think this one. It doesn't change anything, but I think it's so solid that people can enjoy it. This isn't your run-of-the-mill indie dev puzzle platformer. This is a really solid game that's well developed. It's well designed. I think they've done a great job at keeping it fresh. Every different level has a new little twist to it. Sometimes those twists are really unique and make it feel like a very different game. Things that other puzzle platformers don't do, they've done in this game. So if you have a 3DS, I think it was $10 or $9.99. There's no reason not to get Box Boy. It's plenty of fun. It's plenty of game in there. So definitely check it out. On top of that, I played a little OlliOlli. I've never played OlliOlli before. This was like the 2D side-scrolling skate game where you basically use the flick stick as your trick thing. It's not like a Tony Hawk game where you're hitting buttons. You have to actually use the stick, and you do like circles and half twists and things, and it tells the skateboard what to do.
Right.
And OlliOlli is like claim to fame, I guess, is that you don't just land. You have to actually... Landing is a trick, basically. You have to hit the A button at the right time to land, or else you fall.
Right.
And if you fall, you have to go back to the start of the level. So you have to have a clean run through the entire level, and there are different challenges, kind of like a Tony Hawk. And it's an interesting game.
What is it? Yeah, is it 2D?
It's 2D. Kind of like a pixel art style.
Okay.
Side scroller.
Is it kind of like Trials? Skateboarding.
Yes, it's kind of like a skateboarding Trials. Okay. Yes. It's not for me. I prefer my skateboarding games a little bit more ridiculous, a little bit more Tony Hawk like. I'm a huge Tony Hawk fan. Right up to the end, I played every Tony Hawk game. Project Revolution, Project 8, I think there was a 9th one as well, American Wasteland. Yeah, I played all of those games.
I played a lot of them on like the early PlayStations, and then as soon as they started to get put a story mode in there where they tried to make you believe
See, I like that. I thought it was
come on.
I found it right and ridiculous. It was the right level of crazy. I thought I found them fun. I enjoyed it.
What was the
crazy characters?
What was the game on the Xbox 360? Was it Skate?
Yeah, Skate was no, that was on the PlayStation. I think Skate was
maybe it was multi-platform.
Maybe it was, but that's the game this is most like. So if you liked Skate, you'd probably like to give Ollie Ollie a look. Also, I think it's on phones, which I think this would be a great phone game. It's just seems to work well in a mobile style. So you can check that one out as well on the mobile shop. I think that one was $15. I think it was a little bit more expensive. And there's also a sequel that just came out, so you might want to just go into that. I don't think that you'll miss anything if you don't play the original. And then finally, I played the Codename Steam demo, which this is like the Nintendo developed XCOM game where you play as steampunk Lincoln fighting against aliens.
You play. Sorry.
You play steampunk Abraham Lincoln fighting against aliens in 1800s London.
What is it with Abraham Lincoln that everyone look? Why did they keep making him into some kind of superhero? Like with there was that film a couple of years back with the vampire Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter or something like that.
All right, you're clearly not American, okay? You stay off Abraham Lincoln. He was a superhero. He was a damn superhero.
Was he? What did he?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah, read some American textbooks sometime if you're gonna come to this country. Okay, sir?
I definitely don't want to do that. I'll lose IQ points.
But this is basically XCOM. It's very similar to XCOM. You have multiple characters, multiple different weapon types. Robot Abraham Lincoln is one of the characters, so if you really like Abraham Lincoln. The biggest problem with this game is the enemy turn times are long. Eternities. Multiple minutes on the 3DS. And they've said recently that they will be putting out a patch. I think it came out this week, but I played before the patch happened. That would fix these things. I haven't seen reports on whether it has or not, so I can't confirm or deny whether that actually happened. But if they did, this could be an interesting game. If not, I would stay a hell away from this game. It's not worth waiting minutes on minutes on minutes to do your turn.
Yeah. It is something that I always find that's interesting because, especially turn-based games with usually when they use developers opt for initiative to an initiative bar to do the turn order of AI and player. It's something that frequently I actually find more and more that developers get wrong in how long it takes enemies to take turns and things.
Right.
Which I just always find it interesting that how many developers get that wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
and
it
don't
seems like
focus enough on making sure that the turn times of the enemy is quick, because even for people like me who love turn-based games and turn-based combat and love to sit and think about what to do and that kind of thing, I like to sit and think about what to do on my turn. I don't want to be sitting there waiting for ages and ages. And it actually takes the fun out of a lot of the games when you're sitting there. Particularly, I find it a lot of games it really struggles with if you've got, say, an RPG turn-based strategy game like Divinity Original Sin. Now, Divinity Original Sin do it really well because their turns are quick. But if you take that concept, and games that usually have, not only do they have long turn times for enemies, but they also have large amounts of enemies, you can end up sitting there waiting for 10 minutes just for it to be your turn, and then your turn's usually over in a minute because you've only got 4 characters. It's
yeah, and especially at this point, this has happened in enough games where developers should be aware that this is a very bad issue that can really make or break your game if you're making this style of games. So they got to get it right, or people aren't going to play it. It's just the reality of the situation. They got to do better optimizing or whatever they have to do. They just got to make it faster. Because players want to be playing your game. They don't want to be watching your game.
Exactly.
So, if you haven't been playing anything else, we can move on to some news. So, news this week once again.
Not much.
Can we get to E3 already? Can
E3 happen? I hate please? E3. Don't say that.
Well, at least we have something to talk about.
No, because E3's never news anyway. E3's never news. It's hey, did you see that trailer that wasn't gameplay? Yeah.
But hey, that's better than, hey, did you see that nothing?
Well, that's pretty much all that they show at E3 anyway.
Yeah.
It was what did they show last year? I watched Ubisoft's press conference and I don't think I saw anything.
I think they had the order.
Well, they had but that wasn't gameplay. And then they had.
I think it was gameplay. It just didn't look like gameplay.
They had Rainbow Six, which none of that was real.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, it makes me laugh. Ubisoft press conferences because they tried to make you believe, like, oh yeah, we're going to show you some new Rainbow Six and it's going to be like, exactly what it would be like in multiplayer. And then they basically put on a scripted, CGI'd gameplay, and then they do, like, did you see it last year? They put it like it was supposed to be like a proper multiplayer match where one team had to go and rescue the hostage from another team, and they had all these and they were clearly voice actors, like it was so scripted, and I sat there and I thought, this doesn't make me want to play your game. I haven't seen your game yet. Like, this is ridiculous. I just couldn't. I can't do E3. I can't abide it because it's just so full of crap. It's like it's the same thing every year that they show a load of gameplay trailers that are supposedly gameplay trailers, but they're not. Like, and it is usually like people like Ubisoft with, they'll pre-render the trailers. For example, like they did with Watch Dogs. Like, they showed actual gameplay that wasn't anything near the actual finished product.
Yep.
And I hate E3 so bad.
I think I'm less jaded than you. I still get like some small giddiness when I see something really cool, even if it's a trailer. Like I'm a sucker. I'll sucker into it. If it looks cool, I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, as soon as it looks cool, I'm like, yeah, right, whatever.
Now what's the catch?
Whatever.
Yeah, the fine print. But the small news that we do have this week, let's start with the Splatoon creator. One of the Splatoon creators says that Splatoon, which is the Nintendo's attempt at a first-person shooter, it's kind of like a first-person shooter light where you play with paintballs and stuff, that will be coming to the Wii U in May, I believe, says the game does not and will never have voice chat. So they've decided to forego the standard in your first-person shooter of having in-game voice chat, and have decided that it can only lead to bad things. And I personally kind of agree with them on this. I think this is a good idea for the Wii U console itself. I think that if you have a game and a gaming system that is geared towards children, I have no problem with them saying, hey, this is obviously going to lead to bad things, so let's just nip it in the bud.
So is that why they did it, though? Is it because of the kids that they did it? Or did they do it because they wanted to do it?
Well, I think they're saying that it's because of the children and because, the toxic gamer culture that is so prevalent in first-person shooters. But maybe it's because they just don't want to do it. It's more work for them.
If you think first-person shooters are toxic, you should go play League of Legends. Holy crap. Those people are vicious.
Yeah, well, but those games aren't available on the Wii U console. The Wii U has Mario Kart.
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that. They shouldn't put voice in because kids play the Wii U. Kids play all sorts of consoles. Mm-hmm. My stepkids play the PlayStation 3. Like,
right.
It's up to the parents to get age-appropriate games or whatever. Or if you say, surely the Wii U has a feature where it blocks online access for parental controls. I don't necessarily agree with, we're not going to have this feature because of the kids. I don't think that's legit.
I think if I was gonna choose, I would say that they could have an opt-in system where you couldn't necessarily hear everyone. You have to actually say, yes, I'm willing to witness this content. I'm not a child, whatever. And opt into a voice chat system. And I think more games should have an opt-in voice chat system. If you've ever gone into a Team Fortress 2 custom map, all the mic spam and shit that goes on there.
But I know those features exist though, particularly for restricted online access, because all my kids have Nintendo 3DSs, and they have they like to play Pokemon ridiculous amounts, and I'm always having to type in my parental passcode because they want to go even do a trade online. They don't have any access to any online feature on the 3DS, because I put the parental controls on.
Right.
So I know that Nintendo does that feature, so I don't see why they can't do that feature on the Wii U. Like it doesn't make. To be honest, that sounds to me like it's we're not going to put on the. If you don't want to put voice in your game, like voice communication in your game, because it's too expensive or you don't feel like it's worth it or whatever, then fair enough. But don't say it's because kids play games. Like it's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't think a first-person shooter on the Wii U needs voice chat. I haven't played this game yet, but I do think, and it seems like online play is going to be a key component of this game because it's a first-person shooter. That's a key component of all first-person shooters. So giving a step in between you can't play online at all and you are exposed to everything online, I think that this is a decent half measure. And yes, maybe they should have it in there so that if people want to, if they mutually agree to it. And I don't think Wii U has any kind of like voice grouping system like they do on the Xbox or the PlayStation.
No.
I don't think that's available, so you can't just group with your friends and talk to them that way. But if they had some kind of system like this, I think that this would be a good step, I think.
It's kind of funny though. Okay. I mean, especially on consoles, it's ironic though, because saying no, or kids play this and we don't want to expose them to the toxic gamer culture. I played a lot of Call of Duty games on Xbox 360, right? And voice communication was always like the cesspool of society, right? And I'll tell you now, all the swearing, all the insults, all the bigotry, everything like that came for under 15-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
I can tell you that now for a fact. All of that, the majority of that came from under 15-year-olds, right?
So maybe this is to keep those kids away from the other people that just want to enjoy their game. This is for the adults that don't want to deal with the 15-year-olds.
I'm telling you, because kids don't care. Like because they're kids and they don't understand. It's like the whole swatting incident, with live streamers and YouTubers and female developers and all that kind of thing. It's like all the people get caught for, doing this swatting. It's all kids. It's all under 18-year-olds. All of it. Like the guy who got arrested in Las Vegas, he was 18. There was a guy who's just been arrested in California. He was 13. Like, they're all, like, the adults aren't doing this.
Yeah.
It's kids. And it's all teenagers and kids because they don't know better. They don't understand consequences. And they think that because it's over the internet, they have no responsibility and they have, their actions don't have consequences.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being a 13-year-old on the internet when I was playing Warcraft or games like that. I was a dirty little shit, I'll be honest. I did some stupid things that, in all honesty, I shouldn't have done. Maybe this is a step towards... Because, like, where did I get that from? I got that from other people on the internet. Maybe this is a step towards... preventing that from starting in the...
It's a human thing. It's the thing of... if you go back a couple of years, it's the thing of anonymity. It's the thing of I don't have any responsibility to act a certain way. So I'm not in school, or I'm not with my parents, or I'm not in a situation where my actions have consequences. It's just a screen. Like, or you're in a room with a screen. And it's not, and you can't see your consequences on the other end, so you can do what you want. And it's that kind of, it's a psychological thing, and it's interesting because it's like people are like, well, why does this occur now? Why are these kids and teenagers like swatting internet celebrities or whatever? And I'm like, well, because they can, and that's the truth of it. It's because they can. It's because for lots of reasons, some of them are troubled teenagers, some of them are just jealous, some of them are bored, some of them are assholes. It's a variety of reasons. Like, and here's the thing: it would have happened anyway. Like, and the reason that it doesn't happen to like movie stars, look at the difference. If you're a Twitch streamer, you're giving people direct access to you. Mm-hmm. Angelina Jolie doesn't stream on Twitch. Angelina Jolie doesn't engage with her subscribers and like talk to them on a regular basis and look at Twitch chat and read people's emails. She doesn't care. She's got agents and people, like, they're always she doesn't do things live. It's never like that. It's, like that kind of celebrity culture there's blocked off.
Right. Also, that's a more understood celebrity culture. Like, we understand the pitfalls to that celebrity realm. Like, there was a huge incidence of stalkers in that community, and it's just there's different problems in different communities, and this is a very internet-focused community, and we have internet-focused problems that a lot of people just don't understand, especially the people that are the ones that are supposed to be handling these problems. They don't really connect. They're older, the people in power are older right now, and they don't really understand the internet and how it works. So there's issues there, and I can't fault Nintendo for trying to prevent those issues from happening from the start.
I don't know. I don't think it's a valid reason.
Yeah, I
like if you can't afford to do it, if you don't want to pay the expense of putting that in your game, that's fair enough.
That's a separate issue. If that's, I'm taking them on face value here. This is, I don't know. Maybe it is a cost cutting measure. Who knows? It's Nintendo. It could be anything from Nintendo, as we have seen. So let's go on to our second news topic this week. It isn't much of a news topic, but it's the leaked announcement of Deus Ex Mankind Divided. This is the sequel to Deus Ex Human Revolution, which came out on it was a multi-platform game, produced by Eidos. I think it was Eidos, right? They're still around. Eidos Montreal? Are they still a developer? Who knows these days? The developers come and go so quickly. But this was leaked by a German website. It seems to... Game Informer actually confirmed it. They said it will be the cover story of the next issue, so it's definitely a real thing. Mm-hmm. And this game is going to have to do with the segregation and the apartheid that will be going on between the augmented people and the humans. So there will be a huge divide between transhumans and humans. What did you think about Deus Ex? Did you play Human Revolution? What's your...
I played the whole series. I loved Deus Ex. I loved the first one. Invisible War was okay. Second one, I liked it, but a lot of fans didn't. Human Revolution, I didn't. I thought it was good. I thought it was too short, and it wasn't as good as wasn't as good as the first one. I thought, I was hoping for when Human Revolution came out that it was going to be a lot more open world, but it wasn't. It was just hubs. It was you had 3 hubs and you just moved around those, did missions within those hubs, which was kind of disappointing. But I thought the premise of it was okay. I hope with this new one, I'm kind of excited because I really like the series and I think the series is really cool. But I mean, I hope that they do a more open world one rather than keeping it in hubs, because I just felt like Human Revolution, it had a lot of potential but just didn't meet that potential at all, and it felt constricted, and it was always it felt like it was always limiting you. And people who played the first Deus Ex, I think that it was kind of like it was one of the best RPGs that they've ever played. So I'm hoping that they do a more of an open world Deus Ex and really do kind of try and give you the open world in that universe that all the people who like the IP want. Yeah,
I mean, Deus Ex Human Revolution had no right to be as good as it was. That game was excellent. And being a Deus Ex game, it had so many... it had so much going against it being a Deus Ex game. There were so many things that they could have screwed up that I think they did really well. I thought they gave players choices that really mattered. They gave you differing playstyles that really felt different. They did have some problems with some of the boss fights where if you were playing a stealth character, you actually had to kill the boss, so it was very difficult for you. But they changed it in a patch later so that they added in stealth and non-lethal options to all the bosses so you can get through the game that way. But Deus Ex, obviously, one of the greatest games of all time. And if you've watched, The Godfather 2 or any sequel to one of the greatest movies of all time, you know it's hard to follow up something awesome. It's I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I always liked Deus Ex, and I think it's a great series. I want them to actually come up with a really good like game to play, rather than if you took the combat from the last one and put it in an open world game, I'd be much happier.
Yeah, I think an open world structure would be very interesting. Although the original Deus Ex wasn't an open world game, that was a hub based game. Just
Yeah,
like
I know, but
Revolution was.
I feel like again that was the limitation at the time, though. Like when that was created, that was the limitation that they had.
Yeah.
Now you don't have that limitation, and I feel like you could just do a lot better.
See, I'm sick of. If I'm gonna be really honest here, I am sick and tired of open world games. If I could just not have every game become an open world game, if I could have more crafted experiences, more actual things that were intended from the developers, and not like, oh, isn't this so crazy? You can go here with this and do this crazy thing and make your own fun. I'm sick of making my own fun. You make the fun for me. That's what I'm paying for. There are so many other open world games I could play right now that do the whole open world thing, and that's fine. I want a crafted experience game. I'm fine if they want to go with the hub based mission structure for this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I understand what you're saying about open world games, but I think that there are good open world games that you can do it properly. Like, for example, people people talk about open world games, they think of like Grand Theft Auto or think of like Watch Dogs. Those aren't really good open world games. Like they're not. They're it's kind of just a level. It's a big level that basically you go from A to B all the time to do your missions. That's not a good open world. A good open world game is something like Skyrim, where there's always something to do wherever you go. There's always something, like even Skyrim had the system where if you were walking down a road going from town to town, you would meet random NPCs and see, and something would happen. Like that's a good open world game. There's always something to see in those games. Like in Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls, Fallout, something like that. There's always something to see. I think that kind of world where you could go off exploring, there's something to find, there's lots of NPCs, lots of side quests, that kind of thing would be really good for the IP.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in theory the open world is like that, where there's always something to see, there's always a crazy NPC quest line that you can just totally walk by. But all too often it's just like open spaces connecting what would be hub worlds. Then that's just needless walking, random stuff going on.
I understand what you say, but it's all about, at the end of the day, that's down to the developer to execute it well.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess I want them just to iterate on what they did in Human Revolution. There were definitely things that could have been improved, and I think with another game under their belt, this game could be awesome. I think the story that they're working on, the scenario of transhuman terrorists have caused the non-transhumans to really distrust the transhumans, causing a divide. I think that's a really interesting storyline and an interesting setting for them to take the story. I think that they did great writing the first game, and I hope they continue that really good writing in this one.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Either way, I'll play it. So
yeah. So again, light news week. So that's all we got going on for news. But let's move on to the game of the week. This week's game of the week was a free-to-play game. This is the first time we're doing a free-to-play game. It's also a free-to-play MOBA, and no, it's not League of Legends. We are talking about Infinite Crisis, which is the Turbine-developed, Warner Brothers published, free-to-play DC Comics MOBA. So they have all sorts of DC Comics characters. You have your Batmans, your Supermans, your Wonder Womans, your Jokers. All those guys, they're heroes in this free-to-play MOBA. You can check out the website, and you can check out where to purchase the game. It's a free-to-play, so you just download it on Steam, and you can give it a shot for yourselves. So Turbine, you may know, they've done DDO and Lotro, which I think are two very well-regarded MMOs. Not necessarily the biggest, but definitely well-regarded for their fair free-to-play model. I think a lot of people think that these two games do free-to-play the best. So that should put you in good spirits about this game. but this game is basically League of Legends. Let's put it out there right now. They copied League of Legends. This seems like a League of Legends mod that adds DC characters to it. They have the same monetization, basically. They have the same basic how the game works. There are very few mechanics that are different from League of Legends. This game is League of Legends. What do you think about this game, Cosmic?
I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, but I like MOBAs. Like it's a secret thing that I love. But I thought it was pretty well executed. I thought that like mechanically it was solid. There's not too much different. I mean, if you've played Dota 2, League of Legends, any other MOBA, then you know what's going on. Like it's that simple. Like it's just about taking your character lanes. I like that they have. I thought they executed it well. I mean, it's to say that MOBAs are just like each other, but they kind of are. That's what the genre is. It's not. It's like saying MMOs are similar. Like they are.
Right.
Like that's just the way it is. Like it just depends on how they execute it. I liked. They've got a really good system in there of the items. Like people who've never played MOBAs, basically, as your character, you go through a match. Your character builds up gold, and then you buy. If you're in Dota 2 or if you're in League of Legends, you buy items to increase stats. In Infinite Crisis, they call them artifacts. And they've got a really good system whereby you can either choose your own artifacts to buy from the shop, or they have a recommended bar. So you can, if you're new to the game or you don't exactly know how to build your class that you've chosen, you can just basically hit the recommended button, and it will the shop will automatically purchase what's recommended for your character, which I really like. I like the recommended thing. It helps a lot of new players play and not have to worry too much about the meta, and having to worry about how to build your character up. It's all auto, and you can just get on with learning how to play the game. There's not too much different from any other MOBA in terms of mechanics. I mean, there's what they've got is relays that you can capture so that your minions will get powered up so that they're better. There's things like doomsday devices in the center of maps, so that if you destroy, when that gets activated, a big monster will form, and if you destroy that monster, then you get the trigger, and then you're able to cause like a huge blast on one of the enemy's team's turrets or groups of enemies, whatever. They've got a really good stealth mechanic in there that's basically, because I've never been a big player of League of Legends, but I play a lot of Dota 2. I know Dota 2 doesn't have this necessarily, because alongside the fog of war that you've got, where you can only see what your character sees, they've also got basically little sections of the map that are called stealth pads, and basically if your character stands in there, then they become completely stealthed. I really enjoyed that mechanic because it made you kind of think before going forward by yourself.
Yeah,
because if you get caught,
that's a League of Legends thing. They have the tall grass in League of Legends, which basically does the same thing. And there's a meme around League of Legends about not face checking the grass, because you walk right into the grass with your face, and all of a sudden there's 5 heroes in there waiting to gank you. It's actually a pretty fun cheese strategy to do in League of Legends. I'm sure it would be pretty fun in this game too.
But this Infinite Crisis is brand new. I mean, it's only just come out.
Right.
Was it last month it came out? Or
it came out the 26th
of March.
I have here. 26th of March, yes.
So, I mean, it's brand new. I mean, and it doesn't have a lot of maps at the moment. There is more coming, more content coming. The character roster at the moment is okay. I mean, you've got you've got Justice League in there. You've got every character of the Justice League. And in terms of villains, you've got haven't got that many villains. You've got most of the main ones. You've got like Doomsday, who's a really great character. You've got Joker. One thing I didn't like, basically the premise of the story. I like the way they executed the story. In that
that it has one for a MOBA?
Yeah, I kind of enjoy that. It kind of, because especially with playing Dota just throws you in there. Dota's like, look, we're a MOBA. We've got really cool characters, really nice art style, but there's no story and we don't care. Whereas Infinite Crisis, you do your tutorial first to learn the game, and it's all about how the multiverses, all the different Earths are starting to come together and bleeding through, and sections are coming apart, and so basically you get to meet alternate versions of superheroes. So, for example, you start off in the tutorial with Gaslight Batman, which is kind of a steampunk Batman, and it's really cool. And there's voice acting in there, which is pretty good. So in terms of the character roster, you basically have like 3 versions of Batman. You have the Batman that everyone knows and loves, then you have Gaslight Batman, and then you've got Nightmare Batman, which is kind of like a horrible creature.
Like Vampire Batman and Vampire Robin.
Yeah, and there's like a couple of characters that have like 3, like for example, one of my favorite characters is Green Lantern. And then you've got Green Lantern, then you've got Arcane Green Lantern, and then you've got what was the other Green Lantern? Atomic Green Lantern. So which is
atomic characters.
I like that, but I don't like that, and the reason is because I think it's a bit of a cheap way to fill your roster out.
Yeah.
With I can understand that if you wanted them in there, fine, but do have other characters in there. Don't just throw out 3 character roster spaces with the same character. I mean, they're all different in terms of the mechanics. For example, regular Green Lantern is a ranged damage dealer, whereas Arcane Green Lantern is a melee tank. So that I really like the game. I think that it needs a lot more characters, a lot more interesting characters. There's a lot of DC Universe characters I would like to see in there that I think could be really good.
Right, that's why I think it's so sad that they went so cheap with we're just going to use Batman 4 times instead of using one of the other crazy DC Universe characters.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen a lot more.
And I'm not a huge comic book fan, like especially DC. I'm more of a Marvel guy. But are Nightmare Batman, are they big in the comics? Is there like
everyone in there is in a comic? Like there's not.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't just made something specific.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure when I was playing it. I'm like, have they just made this up?
Well, the whole multiverse storyline is like a regular thing in
they have
particularly in the
Crisis.
Justice League. Again, like the multiverse was used for DC Universe Online,
right?
Where Lex Luthor came back in time, but or whatever. But I liked it. I mean, I like the character roster for most of the part. I would like to see a lot more maps as they go along and a lot more characters. I think that they could do some really interesting stuff with the characters and all the. I mean, I thought the graphics and the character models and everything looked great, and especially
the game looks good.
Yeah, I as a MOBA, I thought it was good. The actual pricing, the free to play model, like I like free to play models in MOBAs because they tend not to be too exploitative.
Right.
There's a couple of like you get to unlock quite a few characters just going through the tutorial, which was good. Like
definitely nice.
Specifically, like you got Batman after 7 matches. You got Doomsday, Harley Quinn, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, all in the tutorial.
Big characters. Those are ones that people are probably going to play and want to play.
Yeah.
Which
So
is nice of them.
Things like Superman, other characters are you have to pay, like the Flash. Particularly, my biggest disappointments, my 2 favorites are Superman and the Flash, and Green Lantern. So I've got Green Lantern, that's fine. I would have liked being able to unlock Superman and the Flash, but again, you have 2 versions of currency. You have currency that you can buy, and then you have currency that you build up, and both can be used by new champions. So it's not like anything is out of reach. It's not like it's pay to win. It's not, because you can just, if you play enough matches, you'll earn enough to basically unlock the champion that you want, and they do go on sale and stuff like that. So it's not a problem.
Yeah. So this is, I think, where we can just start showing parallels between League of Legends and Infinite Crisis. League of Legends basically has the same model where they have a set of free characters every week, just like Infinite Crisis has a set of free characters that rotates every week. They have the influence points equivalent and the riot points equivalent. One you earn just by playing, one you purchase from the store. So if you want X character, you can either buy them straight out or play enough matches and then purchase them that way. They have a similar tiered structure where there are different tiers of heroes. I think the lowest tier was 650, which I think is exactly the same as the lowest tier of hero in League of Legends. I think they get up to $10. I don't think there were any characters that were higher than $10. But they haven't released a new character yet, so we'll see if they decide to price gouge the new characters, just like League of Legends does, where they're super expensive for the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
But similarly, outside of the model, and you could also purchase different rune slots. I forget what they call them, but they're basically little amplifiers that you get.
I like the amplifier system. I thought that was good. Like the way that you can basically take a character and then choose your amplifiers to basically it basically changes their base stats. Right. So that you can modify them to the way you want.
Yeah.
And we should probably mention the stolen powers thing.
Yeah.
Where basically
I was going to get to that, yeah.
On top of your character skills that you unlock during a battle, you have 2 powers that you can use. And these you basically get to choose them. Like, there's all kinds of, there's healing, there's super strength, there's all kinds of things.
They're basically the equivalent of the summoner spells from League of Legends, where you get to pick 2 of them every match, and each character has access to basically all of them. The super strength one, I think, is the coolest, though. That's the biggest departure from League of Legends, where if you have super strength, you can pick up items from the actual map itself.
Yeah,
so there'll be cars blocking
paths,
or you can use rocks and pick them up and throw them at people, which I thought was pretty cool. That was a neat little twist. This game has a lot of just neat little twists on the League of Legends experience. So if you like League of Legends, you're looking for something different, maybe give this a shot. The maps are the same, again, as League of Legends. They have a twisted tree line with 2 lanes and a jungle in the middle. They have a Dominion-based map, 5 points and a hexagon. Same thing, capture the points, get points, and win. They also have a 3-lane map, which is similar to the regular League of Legends map. So a lot of similarities there. Each character has 4 skills and a passive. You can actually level up the passive in this game, which is slightly different and kind of interesting, I think. The shop, as you discussed, has some basic. It has a beginner's guide to it. The shop, but they also have more advanced items where if you level up, you can level up an item. Basically, you can get an item and keep spending gold into it, and it will level it up for you. It's a new skin on a League of Legends based game. I think it's fine.
Then each character has plenty of costumes to buy as well.
Yeah, plenty of costumes, of course. That's where they're going to make their money. Bread and butter, of course, is the costumes.
Good old cosmetics.
Yeah, my one problem is that the roster is so small that I'm kind of like, if I want to play a MOBA and it's like this, do I want to play this or do I want to play League of Legends where I have 150 characters to pick from? I could basically pick any Pokemon.
But again,
I
mean, League of Legends didn't start out like that. It didn't start.
No, yeah, that's true. But then it's also a case of this is coming into an I was about to say MMO, but this is coming into a MOBA space that is already well developed. So if you're coming into the space, you better compete quickly, or you're just going to die out. Kind of like the MMO space.
I mean, that's true, but I do like people to take their time with the characters because at the end of the day, it does affect the meta, and it can affect. You don't want to come in rushing characters and rushing abilities, and then making it so that the game is severely unbalanced, and then that will ruin your game. That will turn off what player base you have. Right. They'll go out the window. One thing I would say is that if you think about Dota 2 and League of Legends and their communities, I mean, Dota 2 gets a lot of players, and people play that. Like, for me, I play it casually, play it for fun. I don't play League of Legends, mainly because of the people who play. And, for example, I can go into a Dota game, even a ranked Dota game, and, completely suck that match, and I won't get too much hassle from it. Whereas if you go into, a ranked League of Legends match, you'll just get slated.
Yeah.
One thing that I do like about Infinite Crisis is because it's new. If you have never played a MOBA before, go and play Infinite Crisis because a lot of people are still learning the ins and outs. And a lot of people are still learning the meta of Infinite Crisis. And so I feel like it would be a good starting point for new players to MOBAs to come into a community that's new.
Yeah, I've also seen some of the germinations of of that community coming into this game as well. I've had a couple of go, 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 ready up, why aren't you ready yet, why aren't you ready yet? And I've seen a couple people be like, what the hell, man, you suck. So it's I wouldn't say that this
it's not immune to it, but right. I mean, no game is, but it's just a case of you tend to find that devoted League of Legends players will stay to League of Legends.
Right.
And if at the end of the day, if you're looking for a MOBA to play, they're all very similar, and it's about what what kind of things that you like. I mean, I kind of like Infinite Crisis just on the sole fact that it's DC superheroes. I mean, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, it is.
So it's one of those games that I hope it does well. I would like to see a lot more content as the months go by. Like new maps and new characters.
Right.
And I would really like them to just, instead, while it's good at the moment, I would really like to see them do something interesting with the levels, kind of like Heroes of the Storm's doing, and really kind of push the level design and put some really interesting mechanics in there. So, something that is, superheroes and works on the theme. And I would be interesting.
I would be much happier with this game if they had tried something different with the maps and not had just basically taken League of Legends maps and ported them into this game. If they had done something interesting, maybe something superhero flavored, I think that this would be a very interesting game and definitely something that could compete in the MOBA space. But I think as it is now, I'd have to see a lot of changes.
Yeah, because I mean they're playing with the multiverse, so I mean you could have, instead of like, for example, on the Coast City one, it's just like a load of robots and stuff. Why not have like in one of the new maps like a different unplayable Joker or an unplayable Doomsday from a different universe, and have them be a mechanic in the game.
Right. Have
them be like the Doomsday device or whatever, and if you defeat them, then they cause an effect on your team, whatever. Something just something fun,
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really cool. This game has potential, but it's not there right now. So give it a shot. Maybe see for yourself if you like it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were like, this is nothing special, nothing new.
But overall, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, all right. So, if this was the one game you played this past week, would you have been satisfied with it? Would you have been happy?
I would have, yeah. I love MOBAs.
I might have, because I haven't played a MOBA in a while, and it was good to get back into one, especially one where there are a lot of players learning MOBAs for the first time. It's pretty obvious of that, so it's been pretty easy to kind of curb stomp in a couple games. But other than that, I think that this game does nothing exciting that would have really kept me interested beyond that. So, with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the show here. Last week, we had a contest giveaway for The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. That was my Boston accent coming in there. Carter. And Jack Snowgot is the winner. So be sure to friend 20orLESS podcast on Steam so we can send you that code. Next week, we'll be giving away an Infinite Crisis starter pack. So if you really want to get started and get that head start in Infinite Crisis, you should enter in this week's contest. This week's contest will be the same as last week's contest, so we will be posting every week a discussion thread on our Steam group, so you can join our Steam group and stay up to date on all the news on this episode and discuss episodes as they come out. So what you have to do is post on this week's discussion thread anything about the podcast. Any discussion has to be meaningful. You can't just say, it was good, it was bad. Say something, use your brain for 5 seconds. It won't hurt you. And you'll be entered for a chance to win the Infinite Crisis starter pack. So, Cosmic, where can people contact you if they'd like to get in touch with you?
If you want to get in touch with me, you can go to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/thecosmicengine. Go watch my videos and stuff. Send me a message on there, or you can go to Twitter, which is at CosmicEngine99, or you can go to the website and use the contact form, which is cosmicengine.net, and contact me there.
Sounds good. We also have a new YouTube channel where we're posting the show right there, so if you only want to see the show, but why would you want to do that? You want to see our stuff too. But it's there, so you should check out the YouTube channel. You can find a link in the show notes for that as well. So what do you got coming up on the YouTube channel this week? Anything planned?
Lots of planned. Lots planned.
All right,
whether it actually happens
you'll have to subscribe to actually see what he's really doing.
It's probably just going to be a lot of early access videos this week, doing a lot of early access critique, just mainly because there's not been that many reviews coming out, like games to review.
Right.
I'm hoping to get Mortal Kombat 10, X, whatever, when it releases. Whether I do or not, I'm not sure. But I will probably get a Mortal Kombat review in the next 2 weeks, depending on when I get the game.
How does one review a Mortal Kombat game? Do you just go through all the fatalities and say they were awesome or they were terrible?
Right.
That's how I would review a Mortal Kombat game.
It's just like any other fighter.
Yeah.
It's just it depends on like the combos and how well it's executed and the fluidity and how easy it is to, just the overall controls. I mean, it's all about controls with fighters. It's all about controls, and it's all about do they work?
Yeah. So be sure to subscribe to Cosmic's channel so you can see what he thinks of Mortal Kombat X. If you'd like to contact me, you can get me at GTeeg on Twitter. That's GTEEG on Twitter. You can email me at gaddockteeg@gaddockgaming.com. Or you can contact the show in general at 20orLESS podcast. That's 20, the number 20, or less podcast. Or you can email us at 20orLESSpodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to join the Steam group, which is now up, and we'll have all of our shows, all the games we've talked about on the show, what we thought of them, so you can get a nice little list there. You can find a link to that, like I said, in the show notes. So if we have nothing else to discuss, Cosmic, you good? You said your piece?
I'm good.
Then let's head out. Thank you guys very much for listening.